Good morning, dear friends. It is a profound privilege to speak about grace, God's unearned, undeserved favor and power poured into our lives. Grace is the foundation of our faith, the engine of our hope, and the air that our souls breathe. When we experience it, it can be overwhelming, filled with a deep sense of peace or ecstatic joy. But today, we must pause and offer some important warnings. Just as a traveler needs an accurate map to avoid dangerous detours, we need clarity on what the experience of grace is not. Without this clarity, we risk mistaking fleeting feelings for solid spiritual substance. Our goal is to anchor our faith not in volatile emotions, but in the unwavering fact of God's love. The first, and perhaps most common misunderstanding is this: a strong spiritual feeling does not automatically mean ultimate holiness. Many people equate the validity of their faith with the intensity of their emotions. If I feel joy during worship, I am close to God. If I cry during a prayer, I must be deeply spiritual. But listen carefully. Emotion not equal proof. Emotions are wonderful gifts, beautiful responses to God's grace, but they are unreliable measures of your standing with Him. Feelings are tied to our physical health, our sleep, our mood, and our circumstances. They are the weather of the soul, not the climate. The true proof of grace is not in the intensity of feeling, but in the change in character, the slow, steady cultivation of the fruit of the Spirit we discussed earlier. True holiness is found in the quiet, consistent act of choosing love when you feel like being bitter, choosing humility when you feel like being proud, and choosing obedience when you feel tired. The greatest evidence of God's grace working in you is not a momentary high, but the daily, persistent walk toward Christ-likeness. The inverse of the first point is just as vital. The absence of feelings does not mean the absence of grace. Sometimes God acts quietly. Spiritual life has ups and downs. This is a deep source of struggle for many believers. You wake up feeling spiritually flat, prayer feels mechanical, and worship is silent. In that moment of spiritual dryness, the enemy whispers, "God has left you. You must have sinned. Grace is gone." That is a lie. Our spiritual life is built on covenant, not combustion. It is rooted in God's promises, not our personal performance or feelings. Hebrews 13:5 assures us, "Never will I leave you. Never will I forsake you." God does not abandon you simply because you cannot feel Him. Sometimes God withdraws the intensity of our feelings to teach us a deeper, more mature faith, a faith that trusts Him in the darkness, a faith that walks by commitment even when the road is shrouded in fog. Grace is a stable fact, not a volatile feeling. When the feelings disappear, that is the moment faith is truly tested, and when we choose to believe anyway, our faith becomes rock solid. Finally, a powerful caution against one of the most dangerous spiritual traps. The experience of joy should not lead to pride or complacency. Do not wear frivolity. When grace is active and we feel joyful, or perhaps when we have achieved some spiritual victory, it is dangerously easy to slip into pride. We start to think, "Look how far I've come. I must be spiritually superior." This self-satisfaction is the opposite of grace, which is by definition unmerited. Grace must never lead to lightheartedness or spiritual arrogance. Paul reminded us that we have nothing that we did not receive, 1 Corinthians 4:7. If you have joy, it is a gift. If you have peace, it is a gift. The appropriate response to a magnificent, unearned gift is not boastful pride, but profound humility and ongoing vigilance. Our gratitude for grace should lead to a diligent pursuit of holiness, knowing that we are dependent on God every second. It should lead us to greater compassion for others, recognizing that we are all equally dependent on God's mercy. Grace is a call to vigilance, not relaxation. My dear friends, let us stop chasing after fleeting sensations and start seeking the substance of Christ. Let us reject the notion that spiritual depth is defined by emotional highs. Grace is not a feeling. It is an anchor in the storm. It is a person, Jesus Christ, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. May we cling to the fact of His grace, walking in steady obedience, trusting Him in the dryness, and responding to His incredible gift with profound humility and love. Amen.